There we are. Right. So we're going to combine the data, guys, and we're going to show you how to do that. I first want to open, there we are. This is going to be shared with your colleagues. This will be shared with you. The script is going to be shared with you. Before I run the script, I'll draw your attention to something as well. In the resource guide, you're going to find the script. So you're not going to have to recreate anything. That's our promise. Right? I copied the script from a Microsoft Word document. Don't worry about that. That's going to be made available to you. I'm going to open RStudio. Right? I'm going to open my source or my script editor panel right on the top. Right? I'm there. My mouse is flickering. My cursor is flickering under the number 1. There we are there. Number 1. Okay. I'm going to Control V on my keyboard. You can click on paste even, but I'm going to use a Control V option, and I'm pasting the scripts. Are we together? Any questions so far? I don't want to lose anybody now.
There's a person talking about, hold on, under clustering, I'm getting must provide a graph object. Can this be explained what is required? I think we'll just hang on to Mr. Akinyaka Akindela's question. Continue, I would think. Just continue with this.
Yeah, we're not on Biblioshiny at the moment, so no, we won't go there.
The person gone ahead, yeah.
Right. So guys, I want to draw your attention to look at the numbering 1, 2, and 3. Now, I had a little problem yesterday. My computer crashed. I lost everything. Maybe one of my colleagues is here. I think he was at fault. Or I don't know if Romeo is here. Right. Anyway, I tried to make my computer just acted up. I lost everything. And for some reason, I couldn't access my Java wasn't able to run the data set. Remember, Java, as I said, works in the background of your computer, which literally means that Java is being used. It's your memory space that's being used to access various platforms, from Teams to your Microsoft Office applications, your Outlook, everything. So it has to allocate space for everything, right? And so my space allocation ran out. Right now, depending on your PC, this is PC dependent. If you got a 16 gig RAM on your computer, you're going to be fine. I don't think you're going to have any. I don't think mine has that, right? So I had an issue. Now, for those that have an issue, we are troubleshooting. Before we run the script, so before we go from point 4 to point 12, although I have Java loaded, I need to create space for Java to combine this data, because this is a large set of data, right? I'm combining Scopus and Web of Science together. And if I don't run the number 1, 2, and 3, I cannot combine this data. It's simple. Now, I'm saying for those of you who have little memory on their computer, this is a process. You're going to have to run process 1, 2, and 3. Step 1, step 2, and step 3. For those of you who have enough memory on your computer, you'll only need step 4 to step 12. Are we okay, Anissa?
Yes.
Great.
But I think you may continue. Yeah.
Okay. Right. So guys, I'm not going to run this whole thing together. I can select everything if I want and just run the script. But I want to go one at a time. I need you to see the process and how it's unfolding. It's very important, especially for us end users, right? So I'm going to highlight the first one, highlight it completely. If you stop by the J, it's not going to work, right? Highlight completely, right? And then run. Right, as you can see, prompt, it's identified that. Again, I'm going to number 2, I'm going to run. All you're doing, guys, is running the scripts. You are not doing anything else, right? I'm going to go to number 3, and I'm going to run. So 1, 2, and 3 are done. It's allocated the space it has understood that I need more space to run this particular platform at this very moment. Java is doing that for me in the background, right? Now, I now want to combine the data sets. Sarah has given me Web of Science data. She's given me Scopus data. I want to draw your attention to a few things before we run the script. Firstly, right, and most importantly, you must make sure, as always, you must run your bibliometrics first, library bibliometrics. I'm going to run that part, that portion, and get that over and done with. And wait for it, and there we are. So now I'm into, I need 0.6, 0.5 to 12. But before I go there, let me draw your attention to something very, very important. So pay careful attention. So I'm going to go to my desktop and I'm going to go to my downloads folder. And you will see that I've got my Scopus file here in the download folder, and I have my WOS or my Web of Science. But if you look at how it's written, everything is in small letters or lowercasing, guys. Very, very importantly, all in lowercasing, which means this prompt here that I have for number 6, I'm not going to run it just yet. Web of Science here is in small letters as well. If I make this capital, it will not pick up my Web of Science from my downloads folder. It's got to be succinct. It's got to speak to each other. So if my Web of Science in my downloads folder is in capitals, here, if it's in capital, WOS is in capital, then on my script, it must also be in capital. So be very, very careful of that. Sometimes you're going to find your data not running because you've got Web of Science and Scopus written differently from each other from the directory you are choosing. I'm going to show you about the directory shortly as well. So, right, I've now, are we okay with that, Anissa?
Mohsin, because it's an overload in terms of new information, can I ask you to repeat this process because this is a critical process for the next step?
Okay, great. Okay, guys, so what I was saying is that this script or whatever you do here, especially for the data sets that you are now combining, has to be written exactly the same on the software platform, which is RStudio, and it must appear exactly the same on the folder you are choosing in terms of accessing. So if you look at this one here, number 6, this is my Web of Science data written in small letters on the script. Right, so if I go to my downloads folder here, it's written exactly the same way. So it identifies each other, it speaks to each other. If this was all in capitals, right, and this was in small letters, it's not going to work. That's how fussy it is, guys. I don't want to say who are fussy, right? But yeah, right, it's a bit fussy in that way. Okay, right. So we now, Anissa, are we okay? Can I go away?
Yep, good so far.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I
Right,
just
so
want to know, Mohsin, whether we stop here to take one or two
break.
questions, perhaps, I
Okay,
think,
okay.
because there are some coming up. I'm going to go back and let me go back
Can I
to.
load the data? But okay.
No,
Let's
no, no,
listen.
no.
Let's
Let's
listen.
because I know some of them might have burning questions. I'm gonna activate mics again. Someone allow for mics. If you have a question, please raise your hand and unmute and go ahead to ask your question. Let's see if anybody has a question. Anybody has a question, go ahead, ask a question.
Hello.
Hi, go ahead,
Can
go
I
ahead.
ask something? Right.
Sure.
I just want to double check. You said if you know you've got memory on your computer, you don't have to run those scripts 1, 2, and 3.
Yes,
So you run from number 4 onwards.
correct. Yes, that's
Okay.
perfect.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Akindela, correct me if I'm wrong. The script is to merge the different exported articles from the databases used.
Yeah, we are merging Scopus and Web of Science data. That's correct, and combining them.
Yeah. Is there anybody else who'd like, while the mic is active at this moment, to take the opportunity? Frank, I saw your hand go up earlier on. Do you not want to ask the question?
All right. Thank you for the opportunity once again. I think the question that I wanted to ask, a lady just asked, except to add that, granted you have enough memory space, can you decide to run the script one after the other?
Yeah, so you can decide to select the whole script
Okay.
together and run it. I'm just for
Right.
the sake of, we've got end users here as well, and we don't want to create that. So I want to show them step by step. And it's important, I think, also for your research method section, because if you want to show
All
them
right.
how the duplicates are removed, etc., etc. Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. All right, I think Musi, we go ahead because we're gonna run out of time. And while it is important, I'm going to Mosima, before we go ahead, quickly ask your question. I see your hand is up. Unmute and ask your question.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I just wanted to ask, because when you are presenting, I was also trying to see on my side, but when I for example, I install the packages like XLS, RJava, and I always get the warning, the red warning, but it end up saying successfully installed. So I'm not sure if everything is fine on my side, but it will say installation. For example, let me give you with the response with the when I was running RJava, it will say RJava successfully unpacked, but it also give me the warning to say RTools is required to build R package, but it's not currently installed. So I'm not sure which step I missed. Thank you.
Okay. So
And
remember.
what I understood, sorry to cut. You said it means R is case sensitive, because you said if it's caps, you saved your file as caps, it must be caps even when you are writing on the source code.
Yes, 100%. Are we good?
Yeah, but I think the question is shared about the RJava Mosin.
Yeah, I can. You want me to speak
Yeah.
about that?
Yeah, go
Okay.
ahead with that.
Okay, so guys, remember you are downloading Java, not RJava. You have to go to the Java page, and therefore I said get some help from your technical staff because they will know what to do. Get an IT specialist in with you. The guys are experienced. You're gonna not go to the tools package here and get RJava from here. No, no. You're gonna get Java, and you want to install that version of Java, and then it's gonna work.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. Musima, if that's the last question, can I ask you to put your hand down? I'm going to disable mics again. And Musin, thank you very much, everybody. Let's go ahead.
Okay, so guys, just to refresh your memories, I didn't have enough Java here, so I went and I did these steps, and I got this activated, and then I explained to you in terms of the download folder that I saved my Web of Science and Scopus data to. I'm now ready to combine. However, before you combine, once you select your library Bibliometrics, we ran that script. It's now available. It's showing in our panel at the bottom. The next step now is to select the directory where my downloads or where my data is sitting at. Right, so how do I select the directory? Okay, I go to build, sorry, not build, session. I need to select the directory, so I need to go to session, right? Oh, is everybody with us, eh? No repeats, right? So session, set working directory, session, set working directory. I'm repeating myself. Choose directory. Now, guys, when I do this step, you're going to see automatically, before I do it, you're going to see at the bottom screen here, it's going to select the directory for me. It's going to say set up directory. So I'm going to go session. I'm going to go to set working directory. I'm going to go to choose directory, right? And I'm going to choose my downloads folder because that's where my data is sitting. I'm going to say open. You can see set working directory, C uses Mosino downloads. And now my directory is appearing on my fourth screen as well on my RStudio. I'm hovering my mouse around it. Do not delete anything from here. Okay, so now the system recognizes what it needs to convert. Okay, did everybody understand that, Anissa?
Although I put the kind of session set working directory, choose directly. One more time, please. Kindly repeat request.
Okay. So guys, I want to set the working directory in terms of my data, right? So my data is sitting in my downloads folder, right? And so I want to set the working directory to my downloads folder. I need to select that in terms of running the data. Okay, so I'm going to go to session. I'm going to go to set working directory. I'm going to go to choose directory. Okay, downloads and open. Right. Obviously, I did it for the second time, so it's appearing there.
It was clear, quite clear.
Right. Right. So there we go. We've done all the steps. I now want to start converting the data sets. So I'm going to go for Web of Science first. Number 6 on the screen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Number 6. Select, highlighted in completion. Don't worry about number 5. Number 5 is your instruction, guys. Importing Web of Science dataset. That's the instruction. Right? The actual prompt is written in number 6. Okay, it's a text file. Remember, Sarah downloaded it as a text file, right? And now I'm going to run this. Wait for it to convert. Right, it's done. You can see that there's my prompt. If you look at my environment screen here on the right-hand panel top, it's telling me. So Sarah, did you do 2000 yesterday? I don't even know what you downloaded.
That's
Was
right.
it 2000? Right, so there's your 2000 here.
When we demonstrated,
2000 records.
when we demonstrated, we used 1000, but I had I did mention that we're going to be using 2000 records from the Web of Science and 2000 from Scopus. So I downloaded the data and I gave it to Mohsin.
Okay. Right, with 72 variables. Now your variable, guys, remember, cited references, authors, all those are your different variables, right? So that's your Web of Science data. Now we're going to go for Scopus. Again, highlight the whole thing, run it. Right, and there we have Scopus data. Right, done. You can see the prompt is here. It's asking me, right, so what do you want to do next? Now, important, I want to remove the duplicates. I want to merge, combine the data set, but I want to remove the duplicates. So you can see the instruction is clear here. Web of Science data, merge both data sets and remove the duplicates. So I'm going to highlight this and run this. And it's telling me 455 duplicated documents have been removed. If you look on the left-hand side bottom screen, guys, you can see the screen or your panel. It's telling you now. Remember, if you are doing, I'll give you an example. We wrote a paper on bibliometric methods, right? And what we did, give you some stimulation in terms of putting the method together. You can very easily do a smart design on your Word document, and you can show a process, right? Where you moved, you got the Scopus data, how many records you got the Web of Science data, you combined, you removed the duplicates, and then you've got the final data sets. You can do this whole thing and a narrative as part of your method section. You can play around with that, guys. I'm not going to get too much into all of those nitty-gritty details, right? So then we're moving on. We've now combined it. Right, so now we want to run the next two functions. We want to combine this to an Excel spreadsheet. I'm just going to use this prompt again. Right, remember, highlighted in completion. Number 11. Number 11, guys, I'm going to run that prompt. Right, there's an error here. See, it's an error appeared because I excluded the L. Can you see that? So I need to do that again.
You didn't copy the
Can
whole
you see?
thing. Yeah.
I think it was good I excluded it, eh? All right, so there we are. Right, so do not exclude. You're going to say, oh, oops, what happened there? right? So I'm now want to combine this data set. Now, combining might take a little bit of a while. So we got to give it a few seconds. I think while I combine, Anissa, if there's any questions while I run this last prompt, we'll take the questions. Now, when I combine this data set, guys, it's going to be combined to our downloads folder, right? The folder that we actually initiated as a directory when we started this process. So I'm going to run that prompt finally, and I'm going to wait for the instruction. Once a prompt gets to the greater than sign appears, I know my data set is now ready. Okay, any questions while we wait for that?
No, no questions so far, but do you want me to disable mics for them to raise questions?
Yeah, we can do that. It's
Let
an
me do that.
information
Yeah.
overload. I know it's just the way this is,
I've disabled mics. If anybody would like to go ahead and unmute and ask a question.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead.
All right. This question is a follow-up. The last time we had the EndNote webinar, I think I asked Miss Sarah how to transfer your data from the EndNote to an Excel sheet so that you can actually work on it. I'm asking that question because with regards to all these processes of combining the data from Web of Science and from the Scopus, I wanted to find out if there's any short way, like using the EndNote, I'm able to combine the EndNote data and that of the Web of Science data in one document and transfer it to an Excel, and maybe from the Excel transfer it to Bibliometrics, the RStudio to be able to run it directly. Would that be acceptable under the methodology section if I'm able to use that approach? I don't know if I'm making sense. If you get my question.
No, you are. You're making
Yes,
absolute
yes.
sense. Sarah, go ahead.
Was-
I'll
Okay,
go
so
ahead, Sarah.
I'll just quickly say something. Yes, you're making sense in the sense that, let me tell you, when Mohsin and I first started this, that was what I said. I told him, okay, let's go into EndNote, we'll remove the duplicates, and we will then transfer the or convert the file into Excel, and then we'll try and upload it. But I think when we tried it, we had problems. Correct me, Mohsin?
Yeah, you're right. You see, the problem is the variables that they don't become recognizable because you are doing it manually. Yes, you're using EndNote, etc. But for some reason, EndNote excludes certain variable, being a citation management tool.
Correct. I wanted to tell you,
Yeah.
but part of the EndNote capturing, it doesn't capture every variable. So you're going to be working with a limited number of variables, so it won't be a true reflection of what's available on the database and the major searches done. I would discourage it completely, although it seems reasonably intelligent to do. But the variables, and I've transferred my own citations down on EndNote, and often they have misrepresentations of variables and misplaced variables as well.
So let me give you a scenario, right? It's human element. We all are human, and we look for the easier way out. We all are. It's normal, and therefore you'll find like people use a lot of generative AI tools now. People very easily say, go and use ChatGPT, go and use Gemini, and if you think about it, those tools, they actually work against the process of research. If you think about the research process, the conversations that come out of there in terms of the literature review, etc., and how you delve in there and you interrogate the data and you come up with these concepts and all these novel ideas start appearing. If you're going to use a tool that gives you hallucinations, guys, hallucinations are misinformation and information is not correct. What are you saying about research? You know, so I know it's maybe not exactly an example we should be using. I just want to draw attention to the fact that the process of research and how important it is to follow them correctly, so we are able to get the correct outputs in terms of what we're doing. and I've seen people in the past do the EndNote thing. They have done it, and I'm not saying it's a good way of doing it as well, but yes, it has limitations. As this system has its limitations as well, because if you do not, our studio is not perfect. I mean, if you don't have access to Java, or you have limited Java, or you don't have any technical skills, such as us, because coming from the social sciences, it becomes difficult to do this kind of an activity. And therefore, we find it labor intensive and it's difficult to do unless you have some IT background, and it's quite easy. But guys, we're there for the support as much as we can.
There's
Okay.
a Gita
Thank you.
person. You're welcome. Gita person is asking the same thing. This is so much easier way. I use Zotero to combine Web of Science and Scopus. Then removal of the duplicates much longer method. Oh,
Yeah.
so she's agreeing that your way is easier. Thank you, Gita.
Thank you for that. And you see, it's synthesis, guys. When you are part of the synthesis, that means you are influencing the data. The whole, if you take it from a philosophical perspective, there's an objective researcher and a subjective researcher. We're not going to get into the paradigms, etc. Objective research is outside the influence of the data. This is what we're saying here. We are not influencing this data in any way. We are merely combining the data. We're going to let the data now represent this topic, not us.
Okay. Mohsin, I've got another question, more request. Sure. Can the facilitator please take steps 8 to 12 again? I lost network.
Oops.
I don't think we can do that.
Listen, we cannot, or we can. If guys want me to, then I'm going to have to restart the process and go from step 1 again, because I've already combined the data.
No, after we combine the data, I'm going to have to ask the gentleman who lost network to kind of see the postgraduate librarians after this, to keep following, because it's now 10 to 7, and I don't want to extend the training the longer than we can. It's fine. Yeah. Thank you.
And also
can I ask one last question, please?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I can see in line 12 of the scripts that when the data is being merged together, is being merged into an XLS format. Is that the only format we are allowed to write it to? Because Web of Data was downloaded in a plain text, the Scopus was downloaded in CSV, but when it is being combined, it is being combined to XLS. Why
so
XLS?
So if you heard earlier on, you would have seen that Biblioshiny accepts XLX files. That's why we converted this file, because our application accepts this kind of platform. Sorry, so that's why XLSX. That's the platform the tool accepts. So you're going to see it again when we go up there to Biblioshiny again. You're going to see what the tool is saying, and then you'll understand why we did it that way. So we have to be compatible to that particular platform.
Okay, but from what I understand, it's like the platform takes text, it takes CSV. So why don't we convert back to CSV or back to text? Why XLS?
Okay.
That's what I'm trying to
say.
If you do CSV, sorry, yeah, go ahead, Sarah.
Okay, so when you went to the Biblioshiny platform and you had shown the difference and what the compatibility is, and one of the things that it had said was, if I remember, if you take text for this particular, for the Scopus or whatever it is, it will leave out one of the fields.
Correct.
So just be wary about that. That could happen.
Yeah. So what Sarah is saying is that you could load the raw data in CSV format, Scopus data, onto the platform. It'll work. You can do the same for the Web of Science. It will definitely work as well. But then if you want to combine the data in terms of the Bibliometrics, it's not going to work. You're going to have to do it in XLX formats. That's what the Biblioshiny platform says. You're going to see it now when we get onto it. I hope that answers your question.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Mohsin, although I have other questions on the chat, I'm going to stop the questioning at this moment. You got literally but 5 minutes before the session is meant to end, and we're going to extend a bit more because we need to do. Could you just give us an indicative time how much more before the session will conclude?
Oh, with the questioning and stuff, I really don't know, Anissa. I mean, we're gonna now, the data has been combined, is ready to
Right.
move. We now need to obviously do some work on the data, because you're going to see when we load it onto Biblioshiny that when the report comes up, you're going to see the cited references missing. You're going to see that, and we're going to explain to you why. We're going to go back to the Excel spreadsheet and we're going to correct that, and then we're going to upload it, and you're going to see the difference. So there's a
Okay.
few steps left.
So another 20 minutes?
I'm hoping. I'm
Okay.
hoping.
For those who
I'm
can
hoping.
will continue, we will continue for another 20 minutes. There's no pressure on the facilitators or trainers side, but you might have other commitments. Just be wary. We're going to be another the session is going to extend over its 1 p.m. time slot. And hopefully you can stay until for the next 20 minutes. Okay, Mohsin, I'm going to disable. I'm going to ask you to let's get going. And we'll take as much as we can at the end. Okay. Go ahead,
Okay,
Mohsin.
okay, thanks, Anissa. So colleagues, we've ran the process. We have now combined the data sets, but you're not going to see the combined data set here, right? You have to open your folder on your desktop. Now my folder is my downloads folder that I actually worked with. So I'm going to go to my desktop. I'm going to go to my downloads folder, and there's my combined data set right there, right? So I'm going to go back to a Biblioshiny, back to R, and I now want to run my Biblioshiny app. I've already done my library Bibliometrics. I've run that when I was running the script, so I can just run my Biblioshiny again. Right. Gonna run
While
that.
while you're running that, I'm just gonna ask Sarah Bibi to make sure that we don't get cut off at 7 o'clock and this webinar continues. Sarah, if you can just check on your side as the main organizer.
Okay, so I'm going to go to the data, right? Import or load. Now, and I'm going to select, I first want to select, so I just want to show it for the purposes of the participants and the question asked by the one gentleman. If you go to import raw file, right, you can see, you can go for CSV, you can go for plain text, Web of Science, right? But if you go to Bibliometrics files, it's asking you for the XLS or R format files. Can you see that? Right? So now we're going to go browse, and we're going to select this combined file here and load it. I'm going to say open. It's going to load, and I'm going to start it, and I'm going to generate a report. Now, if you look at my report, my cited references that have 3,544 records are missing. That's very important for us in terms of all of these different, there's some of the acronyms or the metadata guys here that has been combined in terms of this, and it's giving you a report as to the status of each one, right? It's coming up as poor. Why? We needed to answer this question, why? So I'm going to minimize the screen, and before I do sort the issue out, I want to show you, Sarah yesterday explained to you about the metadata that was selected. Now I want to draw your attention on these Word documents to two things. If you look under,
Mosi, before you move over here, because you might lose some of them, because it's an important question. Did the combined file jump to your download folder?
correct, because that was the directory we selected.
Okay.
Correct. Remember when we did our work, when we set up the directory, the session directory, we set it up to the downloads folder. For some reason, I like working on that folder. You can ask Sarah, I don't know. Right, guys, you can select any directory when you're working, and make sure that your files are in that directory, and you can work from there. Okay. Right.
Do we have time to show how to export again? Can we repeat that process?
Export. When you say export, you mean export which files?
I think the download folder.
You mean set up the directory? I
Yeah,
can just
set up
show
the-
you very quickly.
If I'm not mistaken, I think he means to import the folder into
From
Bibliometrics,
RStudio.
but
Remember the
Oh, from
combined
RStudio.
file, the last number 12, guys, number 12, when I ran this command, the last command here, when I ran number 12, it automatically recognized the directory that the combined new file needed to be placed in. So, because if you look at the session, we built the session. When I selected the directory, I selected the downloads directory here, right? So when I got to the last part of combining the file, it automatically saved it to that directory as well.
Yeah.
I hope that
That's
answers
clear.
that question.
Absolutely clear. Got you.
Right. Right. Okay. So I just want to draw your attention here. If you looked at the Web of Science reports, right? The report had cited references missing, came up in red. Important aspect. Everything else was good, excellent, great. The report was great. Now, in terms of integrity, your axiology, in terms of the philosophy, or your ethics in terms of the research process, nobody would know that that cited references was missing except you. So if you want to panel beat the data, you have every intention to do that, you can do that, nobody would know. You would have a paper out, nobody would know. You'll know. You'll know the references are not right. The path you take is based on your inherent integrity, your ethical principles, right? So what we're displaying to you here is terms of the objective perspective is that although you are outside the influence of the data, there are times when you can influence the process. You claim that you are outside the influence of the data, but there are times when if something like that appears, you can continue working without anybody knowing. That's up to you guys, but right, I just want to bring that to your attention. But if you want to sort the problem out, right, and therefore we look for solutions, and this is important in terms of our research agenda moving forward, not only in terms of bibliometric methods, but in terms of any forms of research that we are doing, the ethical value and principles that we apply. So let's look at the data sets here. If you look at Web of Science on your left-hand side marked in blue, you will see the metadata appears as CR or cited reference. Whereas if you look at Scopus in orange, comes up as included references. So this metadata, when we combine it, is not speaking to each other on that Excel spreadsheet. There's something not right there, right? So we need to correct that. So I'm going to minimize this, and I'm going to open that Excel spreadsheet and to find out what could be the issue. So when this happens, guys, you just press yes. Don't press no, press yes. Let me make this a bit bigger. Right. So if you look through the data here, right, and guys, we've actually learned through this. We had to go and find solutions to these problems, and it appeared for us, right? So therefore, we've come across this, and then we realize, okay, this was our mistake here. Let's correct this. This is how we can do this. So you have something called CS underscore raw on your data. This CS underscore raw as a label, as a variable, needs to be changed. Needs to be called CR, cited reference, number one. Right? Number two, you need to scroll right to the bottom, right? And where it says CR not applicable, remove the data, delete it, and save the changes. So I'm going to go File, Save As. I know what's coming, Anissa. Browse. I'm going to go Download, and I'm going to save, and I'm going to replace it. Right? And so it's done. And now I'm able to download. And now if I upload this data, so let me do that. Where are we? Yeah, sorry. Hey, at least I can see your faces, guys. So let me go to my Biblioshiny. I'm going to go to Browse. I'm on Load Bibliometrics file already. I'm going to go to Browse, Downloads folder, Open, and start this process again. And now if you look at the data sets, it's much more cleaner. My cited references are all here. All good. Anissa, can we have the source document to help us? Because I need, if I go through the process now, I need to go and obviously duplicate that get that file out again. All I'm saying, let me repeat, where you see CR raw needs to be changed to CR cited reference. When you scroll down and you look at the different variables, you come to a point where you'll see CR and you'll see NA right through it, non-applicable. That means there's no data there. There's nothing there. Although it's saying CR, giving you the variable of CR, there's no data in the CR. So you're going to delete that column as well, save it, and then upload.
Mohsin, I've
Why
got
did
a
it do that?
question. What was the second item you collated on the Excel folder besides CR?
It was CR non-applicable.
Non-applicable.
Let me go. Non-applicable. Now, guys, why did it do that? Because why did it come up as CR raw firstly? Why? Because it created another variable where it combined the Scopus and the Web of Science data, but it never gave it the variable as CR because it was a combined data. So we needed to change that variable. And if you look at the